Well, hi there, everybody. Thanks for joining us for this next KOIN Conversation. I'm evening news anchor here at KOIN 6, Elizabeth Din. And let me introduce you to our guest who is here with me in studio. I want you to all welcome Holly Hutchison with the PNW CSA, which stands for the Pacific Northwest Community Supported Agriculture. Hi there, Holly.
Hi, Elizabeth. It's so much fun to be here.
Thank you for being here. We've done stories with you over the years, and it's really good to have you here to be able to talk about what you guys do here in the Pacific Northwest. So to start that out, let's expand on what community-supported agriculture even is.
Yeah, that's a great question. It is an alternative way of getting food, and it's one that is mutually beneficial to both eaters and to farmers. So when you purchase a CSA, you're effectively becoming a member of a farm. And so you give the farm money up front, usually up front at the beginning of the season. They use that money to invest in their farm, to purchase seeds, to build their infrastructure, to build their crop plan. But then as the season goes on, every week you get back a box of whatever they've harvested that week. So it's a great way to support your farmer and to get really healthy food.
In fact, I'm playing some video of some images of farmers that you sent over for us to share with. You do work with farmers all across our region, so it's not just Oregon, it's in Southwest Washington and Oregon, correct?
Yeah, there are around 90 farms in our coalition, and some of them are in South Washington and throughout the whole state.
And what's great is that there's also a range of what they grow, and there are people in our area who may have needs or who prefer certain crops. Talk about how there are different farmers who you kind of set them up basically. If someone's new to this and say, I want to buy crops from this farmer and these are the types of crops I prefer, you actually help people get them in that direction.
Yeah, absolutely. So it used to be that CSA was just a big box of vegetables like 16 months out of the year. But I think CSA has really evolved in this region as the farmers have learned to understand what their consumers want and have modified their growing seasons. And so now there's a huge variety in what a CSA actually is. So it's very easy to get a main season share, and that's like 16 to 20 weeks of, June to October maybe of vegetables, and they're pretty standard vegetables. But then you can also do a tomato share or an egg share or a mushroom share. We have a couple of places that do just fish. And so you can really get a lot of your food just from the CSA. We have some farmers that do spring shares if you only want spring vegetables. We have some farmers that do fall shares if you want more of your like brassicas and your potatoes and your late season shares. And some that even do winter shares. So it's very seasonal, and the crops change as the season changes. And so what you really want to eat, you just decide which season you want to purchase during.
And it's pretty fun when you see how people are able to basically support local farmers, right? Putting that money into a local business, a person or people. And obviously people will still do grocery runs, but in this case, you're supporting somebody who is actually farming or ranching right here in our area.
That's a really important point. So when you purchase vegetables from the grocery store, the USDA calculates that about 8 cents makes it back to the farmer. So only 8% of what you're purchasing goes back to the producer. When you're working with a direct-to-consumer relationship like a CSA, the farmer gets 100% of your money, and that is super important, especially this year. A lot of the farming costs have really risen. Like farmers are paying more for labor. They're paying a lot more to get their machines serviced, like a lot more over last year. A lot of that has to do with like parts availability due to all of the tariffs and the economic uncertainties. So their costs have really increased. And so making sure that the money, as much money of your purchase goes back to the farmer is really critical in helping the farms stay afloat.
Not only that, I mean, there's the, if they're driving a car that has gas, right, that uses gas, that is, the time to commute, because some of them live a little bit further out from the city, for example, and say, even if they do a farmer's market thing or whatever it is, they're still going to have to drive quite a bit.
Yeah, transportation is a huge part of the food footprint. And especially when you buy at grocery stores, of course, a lot of that food is transported from all over the world. And so you really cut down on your transportation food print, we call it. when you're purchasing from your local farms. And a lot of the CSA farmers in this region are within 30 miles of Portland. And so it is really a lot more environmentally sensitive, environmentally regenerative to purchase directly from your local farmer. And another thing that is important when you're thinking about where your money is going is when you're purchasing within the local economy, and this is not just for agriculture, but every dollar that you spend, it's calculated that $1.40 stays back into the economy. So when you purchase like that, you're also supporting the workforce and supporting all of the people that work on the farm that purchase from the other local vendors. And so really keeping those dollars right within our region is really so restorative for the whole system.
It's basically shopping local.
It is exactly shopping local.
And I like it's for people like myself who I don't have a green thumb. I try, and so nor do I have the space if I wanted to garden. So a great way to support these farmers who really put in a lot of hard work for their crops, so and the ranchers as well. Okay, so we're here also because you have your annual share fair, and I want to show some video of events that we've shown in the past. I think this was from a couple years ago. It's for several years now has been at the Red, which is a facility where people can rent out that space in Southeast Portland. And it's going to be there once again coming up on Sunday, March 15th.
That's right.
Tell me about why this seems like a signature event. Is that a great way to call it?
This is the 11th year we've had the Share Fair, and it's, I think, the 9th year in a row that we've worked with EcoTrust at their space at the Red. It is the perfect space for our farmers. And Share Fair is so fun because 30 to 35 farmers will be there. If you have never purchased a CSA before and you're not quite sure, like which farm or what you're looking for, we have, we call it matchmaking. We've got a team of people who will talk to you and they'll say, oh, well, what are you looking for? How much do you cook? Like, do you have kids who love vegetables? Are you vegetarian? Do you want to drive to a farm to pick it up? Do you want it delivered to your home? So there are a lot of questions to think about when you're purchasing a CSA. And we will walk you through the process, and then we'll direct you to farms so you can go talk to them and meet the farmer and learn about their production techniques and whether or not they have lambs that your kids can pet. And so it's really a great event to find your relationship and figure out, if CSA is for you and then which one.
How much has it grown when you think back to when things started before to how looking forward to this next Share Fair has become in terms of not just the farmers, but the people who come to this event?
Every year we get a whole new group of people. There's like maybe 1,000, 1,500 people come, and most of them are new. Some of them are coming back and looking for another farm or an additional farm, but we get a whole new crew of people every year who really want to learn what it's all about and to meet their farmers, and it's really exciting. It's a really fun event.
It's such a great local event. That's why I love using that word local. And you mentioned just it gets down to specifics for whatever produce you like, whatever types of veggies, down to are you living just cooking for you? Is it a big family? I also want to touch on the budget aspect of this because it's not just for the Share Fair event, but you guys also do this double up food bucks thing. And I know this was a kind of a PSA video that I know that you guys have as well. Right. Talk about this in terms of those who rely on SNAP benefits. They don't have to be left out of this as well.
Yeah, so it turns out that people who purchase CSAs with SNAP are some of the most loyal customers. They come back year over year.
Really?
So yeah, it's really a beautiful thing. They really want to support farmers, and without being able to do it with SNAP and with double up food bucks, they wouldn't have that opportunity. So we run a program where if people purchase a CSA share with SNAP benefits, we will contribute, for produce shares, we will contribute 50% of double up food bucks money. I think a lot of people don't understand that when people have SNAP, they really don't have the opportunity to eat a lot of fresh vegetables. So SNAP benefits are given out once a month at the beginning of the month, and so people go shopping once a month, and they have to buy shelf-stable food. So it's really hard to get fresh, nutritious produce in your family's diet if you have to purchase your food with SNAP. And so a CSA share is a really good solution for this because you purchase once at the beginning of the month, but then you get fresh vegetables every single week. And so Double Up Food Bucks is a program that we've worked on for a long time. and it's the fastest growing sector of CSA membership. And we're so thrilled to be able to, help people access those vegetables.
I think that's really great because, as you mentioned, I think there are those who may not know that, but once the word gets out that if you rely on SNAP benefits, you can use this as a great resource. And I think it's a step toward eating healthier options. And for those who want to try to be home cooks, you get these ingredients that you may not use. So I love that it gives them that opportunity. And it's just a reminder that I think there's that, people assume that farmers are so far out, it's inaccessible, or it's very expensive. Talk about how those are some of the myths that may exist, and the more you talk to people about how CSA works, that some of those things are just myths.
Yeah, there is this perception that CSA is a really expensive way to get vegetables. And historically, when the CSA model started, it kind of was. Like, you had to have a big down payment up front. And, who wants to spend $1,200 on vegetables in 1 month? Like that's kind of a hard thing to wrap your head around, especially in, an economy like today where people's disposable income really seems to be shrinking. So there are a lot of, that is really a myth. So if you do purchase a large CSA share, you will get smaller shares in the spring before a lot of the heavy vegetables have been growing, and you'll get heavier shares in the fall once it's full of, tomatoes and pumpkins, right? So your share in the spring might be 5 or 10 pounds worth of vegetables, and your share in the fall might be 30 to 40 pounds of vegetables. But when you average that across the entire year, you end up paying between $2 and $2.50 per pound across the vegetables across the year. And so if you compare that to organic vegetables in the supermarket, you're really getting a good deal. So it's a little bit of a different payment structure, but averaged across the entire year, it ends up being cheaper than what you purchase at the grocery store.
Interesting. It's like for those of us who are not great at math, when you put it like that, then again, it's like, okay, it's not what I thought, and it's kind of like busting that myth. We also want to talk about how the farmers, going back to that, and you've been so great because it's your organization who introduced me to Michelle Week of Good Rain Farm. And so I just want to pull up the story I did about her. I'm not able to pull up the audio right now, but I'll just let it play out. If people want to check this out, this is on KOIN.com and our KOIN YouTube channel. But I first met her a few years ago because you guys introduced me to her, and then I did this interview with you at the time. But Michelle is one of the many farmers that you work with. And she, at that time, had this small farm out in Gresham, and she definitely also focuses on native crops to this area and that are important to her.
Yeah.
How wonderful is it to hear these stories, as you know these farmers so well, and they all do have really powerful stories.
They all have incredibly powerful stories. And I do want to mention here that these are not family farmers. These are people who went to school and got degrees in how to grow, and they've done apprenticeships, and they are very passionate and knowledgeable about what it takes to produce food in a really sustainable way. And Michelle is such a great example of that. She was originally an apprentice on Zanger Farm. She worked at the farm in Gresham, was at the Headwaters Incubator, which is an amazing program that we have that East Multnomah Soil Water Conservation does. And Michelle, 3 years ago, bought her Forever Farm. And so she now has a larger area, and she's establishing her permanent farm. And it's so rare that farmers can actually purchase and own their own land. Like, it's one of the huge problems.
She's
that the
truly
agriculture
grown,
have.
a grower who's grown.
She is a grower who has grown, and she is establishing her CSA membership, and she is of Native American ancestry, and she does grow first foods, as well as all the regular vegetables. And so, and she's just a lovely person. And so it is really fun to see how far that she's come.
And my apologies to everybody, because I realize the video I have is not of the story I did of her. I think this was a story that we did just about the share fair. So because we've done a few stories with you guys just to let everybody know that you guys are a resource and connecting people. But I think what I love, this will come up later, but it's that matchmaking that you mentioned. And I think that's so fun because you just think of it instead of like the dating game, it is literally matchmaking with, are you brand new to this? Or like you said, you want to switch up. Maybe your lifestyle has changed, your diets have changed. And that has to be one of the most fun things there is someone walks in and they like know that they want to work with the farmer and support them, but they absolutely don't know where to go. How fun to have this matchmaking program, basically.
It can be a lot because there are 90 farms in our coalition. Each of them has 2 or 3 or 4 different types of CSA programs with different costs and different timing associated with that. And so trying to figure out like in different locations where you can pick it up. So trying to triangulate all that information to find like your perfect relationship, it's a lot.
Right.
And if you want to buy from someone who is BIPOC, if you want to support a woman farmer, if you want to purchase with SNAP, if you want to add on eggs, I mean, there's so many possibilities. And so I really encourage people to come to the Share Fair and talk with us about it, and we can really guide you. And I'm not sure if you knew this, but we're doing 3 Share Fairs this year.
You know, it's like you read my mind because not everyone can get to this Portland one, whether it's the date doesn't align or they just don't live close enough. You do things outside of Portland.
For sure. So we're having a Share Fair this weekend at Helvetia Market in Hillsborough. So all of our West Side farmers are going to be there. There's going to be 10 farms. And we're doing one down in Eugene, which is less pertinent to the Portland crowd, but we do have a bunch of farmers down in Lane County. And so in a couple of weeks, we're going to be heading down to Eugene to do a Share Fair down there.
And definitely go to pnwcsa.org to see all of that because it's on your events page. And now I don't have to apologize because I realized we just had this video pop up. I think the stories were combined. But this there is some video of Michelle that we just had. I think this might be her as well. Yep.
Yeah, there she is.
There she is. So I'm glad that we do have it to give her some love because through getting to know you, you introduced me to her. And not only did I do that first story about her being one of your CSA farmers, but it was also about how she was just really incredible because I went on to interview her again. She has a Save Our Seeds program. And also we talked about the importance of her Native culture. And she has this program where she's, you know, I think with a national organization, and it's about these seeds that if it's literally, as the name goes, like not preserving them, they'll just be gone. And so it's just such thoughtfulness in people like Michelle, who are our local growers and farmers, like I said, and our ranchers and the people you and I have met over the years, the stories I do, the work that you do. As we get closer to wrapping up, how great is it with this kind of work that you do, as well as the Share Fair, to remind you of how abundantly great our community, our region is, from people to the food and drinks that are available around us?
It's amazing that I'm not a native of this area, and once I landed here, I knew I was going to stay because the people here are so thoughtful and intentional. And there are so many problems in our food system today, and most of them are because of the agro-industrial complex, right? And you can look at the statistics, and they're really scary. Like 4 companies own 96% of our seed. 4% of the country's arable land is for vegetables. So that means 96% of what is planted in this ground is not for people to eat. So horrifying statistics, but there are so many people in this region, in the Willamette Valley, who know how to care for the soil, to steward the soil, to make sure that the soil is healthy, to make sure that that nutritional value goes up into the vegetables, and to make sure that those vegetables go to the people. It is so amazing to see how much they want to provide food for us. And when you look at how difficult it is to be a diversified crop farmer, it really just makes my heart go out to them. And I love them all so much. And the work that they put into this and the money they take away from it, which is very little, it is really a passionate, outstanding group of people.
Yeah, that's how I felt every time I've been to a farm, every time I've met our growers, or just to be out and about. It's just another level of giving us this gratitude for the place we live, the people around us, but also just the natural beauty. I feel like there's a constant learning You know, you can't know it all, because then you'll meet someone who has just so much to give and to tell.
Yeah, and there's so much to know. Like when your farm is 150 crops, that's a lot different from what people think about as traditional farming.
It's nuanced, where it's like, I didn't know there were so many types of blueberries or that kind of thing, you know, so.
There are 4 types of tomatoes that you can purchase at a grocery store. There are 400 types of tomato cultivars.
Woo!
And our CSA farmers grow
Right.
those types. You get so many more vegetables.
Exactly. And then there's the people over at OSU who like might be creating other types of tomatoes, and then it
totally.
just keeps growing.
Totally,
So yeah.
totally.
Thank you again, Holly. This has once again been a wonderful conversation. It's always great chatting with you and the people with PNW CSA. We just want to remind everybody, pnwcsa.org is where you'll find that information. It's Sunday, March the 15th is the annual CSA Share Fair event. Sunday, March 15th, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m.
11 a.m. to 2
Oh, 11.
p.m. 11 a.m.
Good,
to
I'm
2
asking.
p.m.
11 to 2. 11 to 2, Sunday, March 15th at the Red in Southeast Salmon.
That's right.
It is a free event, but if you want to make a donation, $5 suggested donation is certainly going to help this nonprofit and the great work that you guys do.
Liz, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk with you.
Thank you.